Donald Trump did a rally over the weekend, and I want to take a look at a few moments with you. First, he did what he's done so much of, which is cast doubt on our election systems, break down the legitimacy in our democracy for no reason, because the claims he's making about why the election was stolen or why our election systems are broken aren't true. But he said something that's even more damaging to future elections, which he said, I don't believe we'll ever have a fair election again. And this is foreshadowing what we're going to be dealing with as a country for years to come. As long as this movement is in prominence, we are going to be dealing with people who do not believe in our election systems for no reason. Again, sometimes it's justified not to believe in the legitimacy of your democracy if there's evidence to convince you of that. But if you're just baselessly claiming things and then convincing your followers not to believe in our democracy, that's what we're looking at here. So here's his statement on this.
Jailing political opponents just like the Soviet Union, now Russia. The Soviet Union, now Russia. Think of it. We're being compared to that by many, many people because of what's happening with the criminal justice system. I think it's the criminal injustice system. If the communists win, and now we're talking communists, we don't say socialist anymore because we've already skipped over socialist. But I'm afraid we have...
Sorry, I have to pause it. That's just, it's too much, guys. The whole socialist communist thing. I wish some of the people listening to him speak had a basic understanding of different governments in the world and what the proper titles are for them. Because I can tell you, I promise, the United States government is not a socialist or communist government. But as he said, they skipped over just the socialist term. Now it's a bunch of commies.
Never had, and I don't believe we'll ever have a fair election again. I don't believe it. Just days ago, the FBI sent dozens and dozens.
Okay, he doesn't believe we'll ever have a fair election. And like I said, that is incredibly scary for the future, because if a large portion of your country doesn't believe in the democracy, that can do a lot of damage. And then here's just a really interesting moment where he starts by saying Kamala Harris, or he calls her Kamala, I think. Why people still can't pronounce the name of a vice president, I don't know. Interesting. It's not that difficult, but whatever. He says she's a North Korea sympathizer because she had that moment where she misspoke and said we support North Korea when she obviously didn't mean to say that. And then immediately flips it to how good of a relationship he had with Kim Jong-un. So wait, are we criticizing her for being a North Korea sympathizer or supporting the fact that Donald Trump had a great relationship with the leader of that government? I'm confused. Take a look.
And we're beating Biden by 5 points or more. And we're beating Kamala Harris, the North Korea sympathizer. She's a sympathizer. We're beating her by 10 points. No, she likes North Korea. I think that was one of the worst mistakes of all. Can you imagine? They're standing on the border. North Korea's over there shooting off missiles as she's speaking. They shot out 2 missiles. And I got along very good with Kim Jong-un. That's another one. We got along great with Kim Jong-un. We didn't have a problem, but he doesn't like these people too much.
Isn't that so funny? He goes, she's a North Korea sympathizer, boo, but I had a great relationship with the dictator of North Korea. Very bizarre. And then here is him kind of passively responding to Maggie Haberman's reporting, or it's pretty clear he's talking about her, but he won't say her name. Obviously, Maggie Haberman has released a bunch of interesting bits of information lately about Donald Trump, and here's his thoughts about that.
And fabricated stories, all sorts of stories. I had a story the other day that I wanted to fire my daughter Ivanka. That didn't happen. No, but how do you call your daughter and explain this, right? You know, they read this disgusting talk. That was a writer from the fake New York Times, the failing New York Times, a lot of unfunded liability. I was a really bad reporter, thinks that she's my biographer, even though she knows me a lot less than some of the people standing right on that platform right back there. Some of whom are okay, like about 10%.
The funny thing is the only people who are at his rallies now are right-wing media. So that's probably all people who are for him, but he'll still point and say the fake news at the people filming. Interesting. And then here's him thanking Ginny Thomas for sticking to her claims that the election was stolen whenever she got questioned by the January 6th committee. So whenever she went in to get questioned, I guess there was somewhat of curiosity about if she would stick to the aggressive stance she had in all these private text messages, that the election was definitely stolen, all these conspiracy theories she believed in. And it seems, based on reporting, that she did, behind closed doors with the January 6th committee, still made those claims. And so here's Trump thanking her for that.
As we talk about and think of the rigged and stolen election of 2020, presidential election, rigged and stolen, I would like to thank a great woman named Ginny Thomas. Do you know Ginny Thomas? She's a great woman. The wife of a great man, Justice Clarence Thomas, for her courage and strength in saying, according to the standard and routine leaks from the committee, you know, everything leaks out of those committees. They're like a leaking sieve. They're just like a leaking sieve. But she said that she still believes the 2020 election was stolen. She didn't say, oh, well, I'd like not to get involved. Of course, it was a wonderful election. It was a rigged and stolen election. She didn't wait and sit around and say, well, let me give you maybe a different answer that I've been saying for the last 2 years now. No, she didn't wilt under pressure like so many others that are weak people and stupid people, because once they wilt, they end up being a witness for a long time.
All right. So yeah, Ginny Thomas still believing all of her Looney Tunes beliefs, and Donald Trump loving her for it. So there we go. Another bizarre rally with some dangerous and damaging rhetoric.